By the way, I wanted to tell you guys too. Me and Bailey and my dad went and watched Avatar 2 again. My dad had not seen it. Me and Bailey have seen it. We talked about it on the podcast. I was more excited, and I think I even enjoyed it more the second time than I did the first. And I mainly think the reason is that I knew what to expect. And that's weird because it's like, well, the whole point of a movie is not necessarily knowing unless it's one you have already seen and just kind of like enjoying it. So yeah, like of course knowing what to expect is going to change how you feel about it. But I think honestly part of it too was there was no build up. Like Avatar disappeared from my life and then reemerged. I was like, yo, Avatar 2 13 years later. It's like, shit, I watched the first one when I was 8 years old. Like at the time when I watched the first one, considering how well it did and how they ended it, I was like, oh man, they have to be making a second one. I was expecting at max 4 years till the second movie. Turns out it was 13. I'm not upset because the movie is amazing. But when you don't have that connection or reminder in your head that that's even a thing, like when they announced the second movie, it's like, oh man, that's really cool. It's been so long. I'd love to go see it and find out how it is. But it's like I wasn't like hyped. I wasn't like, holy shit, Avatar 2, I can't fucking wait. The first one was so good, this one's gonna be amazing. Like that wasn't what popped into my head. It was like oh cool, like I definitely have to see that because I did enjoy the first one. I want to see where they take it. And then I was happily surprised by how amazing it was. And so it was the best comparison I had is like that one was kind of in the background. You didn't know what was going on. I mean, I don't even think they had it guaranteed that they were going to make the movie or going to start making the movie until 2015. And so it was like that's already 6 years after the first movie. So that's a long time. But the only other movie series I can compare it to that did the exact opposite, and it's not even a series, is Marvel. The first movie, Iron Man, came out in 2008. And they had a Marvel movie at least 2 or 3 times a year almost. Maybe one time, depending on the beginning stages of the Marvel Cinematic Universe like building. But they were there the whole time. There was at least a movie or multiple and a handful of movies every single year for 10 plus years. And it was always a reminder, new characters, new people, but it's all the same thing. Marvel, superheroes, blah, blah, blah. Slowly but surely building up to like Infinity War and Endgame. So it's like when those movies came out, it was like that one, just going into it, you were so hyped up, at least if you were a fan, because you knew that this had been building for years, and that's never been done in a movie. I don't like with movies. The best comparison I feel like would be Harry Potter, but it's also different because Harry Potter, you can read the books and know the outcome. You can't really do that with the Marvel stuff necessarily because I guess there's comics, these are based on comics, but these stories are also original creations in themselves. So it's very interesting because you want to see what they're gonna do with it, and then also have not like an amazing cast, but in Endgame and Infinity War, you literally have every character that you love in one movie instead of maybe a max of like 5 or less. You literally have 25 amazing large Marvel characters, big star actors, all this in these movies, and of course people are going to want to see it. It's like, oh, who's in the cast? Everyone you can think of, like Scarlett Johansson, like Chris Hemsworth, I almost said Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. Like you just keep going down the list, and it is just ridiculous. Where with Avatar, I mean, there is a very good cast, but at the same time, in comparison, it's minimal. It's still amazing, but when you compare it to the cast of the Marvel Infinity War or something, it's like good, but you could do better. But it is kind of crazy too that like they've broken records. They didn't do this by the time me and Bailey recorded the last episode. Within 14 days, they crossed the $1 billion mark. Last time I saw, they were at $1.4 billion globally. And that was almost a week ago. So I feel like now they're at least at 1.6, if not higher. And I think they had to make over $2 billion, or at least $2 billion, to be profitable for the studio. So they're on track. Like, they've already broken records for one of the best movies this year, last year, let alone ever. And it's crazy to see, because it's so wild to watch. Like, the first one, I'm guessing most people have seen it. Amazing movie, amazing graphics. The story and plot, it's okay, but I understand why some people don't like it. But when it comes to the visual effects, at the time, this was the best shit ever. It still holds up and is still amazing, but you watch the new movie and it's just not comparable. Like, the old stuff, like Avatar, the first one, not bad, but The Way of Water, ridiculous. Like, it's crazy how good it is. Like, you feel like it's real and someone recorded shit on a drone somewhere. Like, it's awesome. So I do recommend people to eventually see it whenever they get the chance, because it is an amazing movie. And I think that within 8 years or less, this will be probably one of the largest. It will be probably the largest grossing movie franchise ever, but I feel like this will be one of the largest movie franchises of all time. Because if this one does well and the next one does well, which is very likely, there's going to end up being 5 movies. Or that's what they want to do. And the last movie won't come out till, I think, 2028. So it's interesting. It's gonna be with us over the next 6 years. So it's cool to see what's gonna happen with everything. And I'm excited. But I'm also a nerd, so I'm gonna let you guys know that now. I'm a nerd, but it's okay.